Mr. Chair.
May I be
Yes,
allowed?
Madam Vice
Yes.
President.
You need to reconsider that extension of your detention. It was illegal in the first place. You asked the president why he accepted the resignation. Do not ask due process.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Paduano. Congressman Nakop.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice President, if you have any question in so far as the actions of this committee are concerned, I think the proper remedy is for you to go to the court.
Sure, I will go to court.
Opo, pero
Oo,
that is
pero
your...
araw-araw, you are depriving a person of her liberty while I await
That is precisely the point, ma'am.
the...
If our action of detaining your chief of staff is against the law, I think the proper remedy, and I think you're a lawyer,
Yes, sir.
the proper remedy is to go to the court.
Sir, do you really want to show the Filipino people kung anong kaalaman ninyo sa batas?
Ang sinasabi ko lang po ay sundin
Oo.
po natin yung batas
Kaya
dito
nga,
sa
sir,
House.
sundin natin yung
Kasi
batas.
nandito po kayo dito sa bahay ng Kongreso.
Yes, sir. Sundin natin yung batas. Why will you penalize, punish Yusek Lopez for an act of the president?
Madam Vice President, that is the decision of the committee as a whole. Sana po respetuhin po ninyo.
Yes, sir.
Kung meron pong
Okay.
remedy, alam naman po ninyo bilang abogado na tama po yung sinasabi ni Congressman Acop, pwede po tayong mag-file ng relief sa
Okay,
court.
sige, sir. Tinutulungan ko lang kayo, sir, kasi napapahiya ang Pilipinas. Ganito ba ang House of Representatives? Tinutulungan ko lang kayo.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Vice President.
With all due respect,
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
Congressman
Mr. Chair, I move that we
Deputy
strike
Speaker
out. Yeah, I move that we
Suarez.
strike out that last comment said about the House of Representatives. I don't think that is warranted. Neither is it fair to make statements such as that. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may
Congressman
we
Dan
remind all the
Fernandez.
resource persons to address the chairman kasi nakakawala po ng respeto sa committee na to kung hindi po natin i-address ang chairman. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We will now continue to the next item in our agenda. We will now proceed to the interpellation proper. The first to interpolate is the Honorable Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I ask Mr. Edward Farda? Mr. Farda, you were the special disbursing officer during the period when Vice President Sara Duterte was the Secretary of DepEd.
Your Honor, Mr.
Edward Farda, you're recognized.
Chair. Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I confirm.
Thank you. Would you also confirm the 3 land bank checks, each amounting to 37.5 million, were issued to you as payee and were encashed by you? Would you confirm that?
Mr. Farda, you are recognized.
Your Honor, I confirm.
Thank you. And would you also confirm that you certified the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds and in fact issued the corresponding certification? Would you confirm that?
Mr. Chair, pwede pong paulit lang po nung question regarding dun sa issue ng certification.
Congressman Akop, please continue. Please repeat.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Farda, can you, did you certify to the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds? And in fact, issued the corresponding certification?
Mr. Chair, wala kaming kakampi dito, walang maka-point of order para sa amin. How can you ask a resource person without
Madam
giving him
Vice-
copies? Without giving him
Mr.
copies?
Chair, point of
Madam
order,
Vice
Mr. Chair.
President, please wait to be recognized.
Give him copies.
Point of order. What's the point of order of the Honorable
Yes,
Castro?
Mr. Chair, Representative Acop is asking our resource person, why is it that the Vice President is batting?
Yes,
Yes, the
ma'am.
point of
No,
order
hindi
is
Kasi wala
dapat
kaming
ganon.
kakampi
proper.
dito, ma'am.
Pero dapat
Walang
pakinggan
maka-
One
muna
minute
natin.
recess, declare the session.
Well, point of order.
Session resumes. Please continue, Congressman Akop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed, I would like to ask COA. Sige. COA, would you agree that three land bank checks, each amounting to 37.5 million, were issued to Mr. Edward Farda as pay?
Attorney Camora, you are recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And did Mr. Edward Farda certify to the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds, and in fact issued the corresponding certification?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And Mr. Fajarda and Madam Acosta also prepared the corresponding accomplishment reports for the use of the DepEd confidential funds? Would that be correct?
Mr. Fajarda, yes, Mr. Chair.
Could you please repeat your answer, Madam?
For Mr. Fajarda for DepEd, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Now, may I know, Mr. Edward Farda, si Miss Sunshine po ay asawa po ninyo?
Yes, Your Honor, you're correct.
Yes. And Miss Sunshine Farda ay nagtatrabaho rin doon sa office ng Vice President.
During DepEd po, kasama po siya.
Yes, thank you. Now, Mr. Chair, para lang ma-recall po natin, si Miss Sunshine ang pinangalanan ng ating mga resource persons natin nung mga nakaraang hearing na nag-abot ng payola money sa mga empleyado ng DepEd at sinasabi niya na ito ay galing kay Vice President Sara. Bagay na bagay sa kanya ang kanyang pangalan. Talagang sunshine siya dahil paano ba naman hindi iilaw ang mukha mo pag naabutan ka ng pera? Meanwhile, si Mr. Farda naman ang pinapangalan nung nakaraang hearing na nung una ay nagproproseso ng payola money through land bank payroll accounts ng field personnel, pero due to supposed security reasons, hiningi niya ang personal ATM account numbers para doon na lang ipapadala ang payola ng field personnel, effectively bypassing the official documentation of all the transactions. In short, Mr. Farda, kayong mag-asawa ay nagtatrabaho para kay Vice President Sara. Tama po ba?
Mr. Edward Paharda.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Kayo ni Miss Sunshine ay galing sa Davao. Tama rin po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bago kayo nagtrabaho under DepEd with Vice President Sara as the Secretary, si Miss Sunshine ay nagtrabaho for VP Sara nung siya ay mayor ng Davao City. Tama po?
Mr. Paharda.
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, Mr. Farda, lumipat kayo ng Maynila to serve under the office of the Vice President and in DepEd. Tama rin po ba?
Your Honor, yung po kasing asawa ko nasa Manila, so kung ako po ay nasa Davao, so I decided na mag-apply po ako sa DepEd. Kaya nagkasama po kami.
Noong si Vice President Sara ay nakabase po sa Davao as the City Vice Mayor, hindi po kayo part ng kanyang staff. Tama rin po ba?
Tama po, Your Honor.
In short, bago kayo naging SDO or Special Disbursing Officer ng DepEd, wala po kayo involvement kay Vice President Sara.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct. Dahil sa inyong asawa, si Miss Sunshine, kayo po ay nakilala ni Vice President Sara. Tama rin po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa makatuwid, tama rin po ba na ang pagiging Special Disbursing Officer ninyo ay ang first job nyo kay Vice President?
Your Honor, executive assistant po ako bago po ako naging SDO.
So,
Special
hindi ito ang
Disbursement.
first time na trabaho po ninyo kay Vice President?
Executive assistant.
Yes. Ang SDO appointment ang SDO ay isang appointment by the head of office. Would you agree with that?
I believe po trust and confidence po.
Oh, pero nag-appoint yung head of office.
Opo.
Thank you. In other words, pinili po kayo ni Vice President na maging Special Disbursing Officer. Tama.
By trust and confidence po.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Chair, as we can see, isa lang ang credential ni Mr. Farda upang siya ay piliin ni Vice President Sara para maging SDO. Ito ay dahil siya ay asawa ni Miss Sunshine. Alam naman natin ang posisyon na SDO requires trust dahil malaki ang funds na involved dito. Sinabi na rin ni Mr. Farda yun. For the case of DepEd, kay Mr. Farda, unang ibinigay ang confidential funds na umaabot ng mahigit 100 milyon. Mr. Farda, are you a regular employee within the meaning of our civil service?
Mr. Chair, executive assistant po is also appointed po ng head of the office of the agency, considered po as a regular employee.
Considered as a regular employee and therefore covered po ng civil service rules. Would you agree?
Mr. Chair, hindi po ako masyadong maalam sa rules po ng civil service. So, can I ask someone?
Kasi if you're a regular employee under our civil service rules, the fact that you are appointed in the DepEd as co-terminus with the Vice President and then Secretary of Education, are you trying to tell this committee that a co-terminus employee would be a regular employee within the meaning of our civil service rules? And if no naman, I think you would also be aware that under a joint circular, a special disbursing officer must be a regular employee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Now the question is, are you or do you consider yourself a regular employee despite your being a coterminous employee?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're a regular employee. You consider yourself such. Okay. But as a coterminous employee, you serve at the pleasure of your principal. Tama rin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Meaning the principal is the vice president.
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
she can remove you from office at any point in time. Tama rin.
Opo, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, I wish to explore legislation on this matter because an SDO cannot be cannot be a coterminous employee. We have to remember that confidential funds, when granted to a civilian agency, is related to the functions of the agency itself. As such, the person handling it must be a career employee, preferably of that agency, so that we are certain where loyalty lies. Not just a coterminous employee where incentives are aligned towards ensuring that the principal is pleased with his or her performance. Do we have a representative of the Bureau of Treasury, Mr. Chair?
Comsec?
Your Honor, Bureau of Treasury was informed belatedly, but they will try their best to appear today, Your Honor.
So they're not present today.
Not present today, Your Honor.
Kasi, Mr. Chair, ang tatanungin ko po sana is tungkol po dun sa fidelity bond. And the representative of the Bureau of Treasury is the appropriate or proper person to explain to us yung fidelity bond vis-a-vis the accountable officer.
Your
Congressman
Honor.
Nakop, I think the the representative of Bureau of Treasury is present.
May I please recognize Attorney Jericho Cadorna, OIC for the Complaints and Investigation Division of the Bureau of Treasury, Your Honor.
Nakapag-oath na po ba siya, Comsec?
Previously, in the previous hearings, Your Honor, he has already taken his oath.
Okay. Please take your seat, Attorney Cardona. Please proceed, Congressman Nakop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney, bago i-discuss po natin yung fidelity bond, maaari po ba ninyong explain sa amin o sa committee na ito at sa mga nandito ngayong araw na ito, ano ang accountable officer at sino po ang mga pwedeng maging accountable officers?
Good afternoon, Your Honor, and to the Honorable Committee. Your Honor, to answer the question of Your Honor, as for the Bureau of the Treasury in our fidelity bonding operations, to determine who is an accountable officer, we refer to the requirement of the public bonding law or the definition of the public bonding law as to who is an accountable officer. Section 314 of the public bonding law states that every officer, agent, and employee of the government of the Philippines or of the companies or corporations, the majority of the stock of which is held by the national government shall, whenever the nature of the duties performed by such officer, agent, or employee permits or requires the custody of funds or property for which he is accountable, be deemed a bondable officer. And except as otherwise provided, every such person shall be bonded or bondable and his fidelity insured in accordance with the public bonding law.
With your definition, Attorney, yung bang special disbursement officer ay isa sa mga accountable officers?
As per my knowledge, Your Honor, in the operations of the Bureau of the Treasury, special disbursing officers are one of the officials who are considered bondable because of the fact that they are in custody or in possession of public funds or property. However, admittedly, Your Honor, as far as the legal service of the Bureau of the Treasury is concerned, we often recommend a different evaluation criteria because special disbursing officers are generally only designated additional accountable functions on top of their core functions, which ordinarily does not involve public funds or property, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Attorney. my question was very simple. Ang tanong ko lang po kung ang mga designated special dispersing officers are also accountable officers pursuant to the definition that you have cited to us. Yes or no lang naman po.
Yes, Your Honor, considering that if they are granted or designated additional functions as special disbursing officers, the nature of the duties then would require custody of funds or property, Your Honor.
And therefore, Mr. Edward Farda is an accountable officer pursuant to that definition.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, ayon sa ating joint circular, an accountable officer is an officer of the government whose duties permit or require the possession or custody of government funds and property, and who shall be accountable therefore and for the safekeeping thereof in conformity with our laws and regulations. As clearly established by the discussion earlier, Mr. Edward Farda is indeed an accountable officer, not only by the fact of his position as SDO, but also by the fact of the confirmation of receipt of confidential funds for DepEd respectively in 2022 and 2023. Now, Attorney, you must be aware of Treasury Circular Number 1-2022 regarding supplemental guidelines on the revised omnibus regulations governing the fidelity bonding of accountable public officers, being part of the Bureau of Treasury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, base po sa circular ng Treasury, ano po ang ibig sabihin ng bondable officer? Ito po ba ay nangangaluhugan na may bond na ipinopost para sa kanya?
Yes, Your Honor.
And ano po yung tawag po ninyo doon sa bond na binibigay ng bondable officer?
It is referred to by the Bureau of the Treasury as the fidelity bond, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Pwede po bang ipaliwanag niyo po sa amin, sa lahat na nandito, kung ano po ang ibig sabihin ng fidelity bond in layman's terms?
Your Honor, a fidelity bond or the posting of the fidelity bond is an assurance or the commitment of an accountable public officer that he will faithfully discharge and lawfully discharge his duties, particularly his accountable public duties, considering that the accountable public officer is in possession of public funds or property. It is a commitment, Your Honor, that the accountable public official will faithfully and lawfully discharge his or her duties.
Ano po ang purpose? Is that the last statement that you made? Yan po ba ang purpose ng fidelity bond?
Its purpose also, Your Honor, is for the accountable public official for his fidelity to be covered, Your Honor, to be covered by the Fidelity Fund.
Marami pong salamat. Now, bakit kailangan mag-post ng fidelity bond ang isang accountable officer katulad ni Mr. Farda?
Your Honor, because the reason being is that because the fidelity bond or a bondable officer is a bonded officer rather is covered by the Fidelity Fund, the Fidelity Fund maintained in the Bureau of the Treasury shall be available for the purpose of replacing defalcations, shortages, and unrelieved losses in their account, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ngayon, sa Bureau of Treasury, ano po ang ibig sabihin ng public fund?
Allow me to just refer to the
Please,
circular, Your Honor. So I
please,
won't-
Attorney.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I will quote item Q of the definition of terms under Treasury Circular 2-2019 as amended. Public funds shall refer to funds or public monies under the possession, custody, or control of an accountable officer by virtue of his or her official position or designation, which include public monies of every sort, and other financial resources such as cash, instruments, representing or convertible to money, receivables, and the like pertaining to the government agency, Your Honor.
And pursuant to that definition that you have read, ang confidential funds ng DepEd ay kasama sa public funds under the possession, custody, or control of the special disbursing officer. In this case, Mr. Edward Farda.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ano po ang liability ng accountable officer katulad ni Mr. Farda sa ganitong sitwasyon?
Liability, Your Honor, in
Yeah.
if I may.
Are they accountable sa mga losses dahil sa unlawful deposit, unlawful use, or application of public funds? Unlawful application of public funds. Sila po ang accountable?
Yes, Your Honor. If there is unlawful disbursement, considering that the Administrative Code of 1987 states that every accountable officer shall be personally liable for the funds or property in his or her possession, Your Honor.
Liable din sila kahit attributable ang loss sa kanilang negligence sa paghawak po ng mga pondong ito.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Farda, having listened to the explanation of the representative of the Bureau of Treasury, are you aware of the magnitude of your accountability as Special Disbursing Officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let me confirm. Salary grade 17 po kayo, tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
And correct po ba yung aking record ng inyong monthly salary ay around 35,000 to 40,000? Mali po ba yun?
Your Honor, 41,000. Ganyan po malapit. Hindi ko lang po alam ang exact figure.
So, malapit dito. Malapit dito sa numerong
Mga
sinabi ko.
40 plus 40 to 50.
Yeah. Kanina, napag-usapan natin with the Bureau of Treasury ang fidelity bond at ang purpose nito. Naintindihan mo naman siguro yung explanation ng representative ng Bureau of Treasury. Nung kayo po ba, Mr. Farda, to minimize the probability of theft or crimes in relation to the confidential funds na inyo pong hawak, ano po yung controls na inilagay po ninyo? Kayo po ba ay hiningan ng proof ng iyong income o properties?
Your Honor, ang tanong po niyo po ba yung as SDO, as an SDO?
Yeah, bilang SDO at may hawak po ng confidential funds, may nilagay po ba kayong controls sa paggamit po nito? Or hiningan po ba kayo o pinag-submit po ba kayo ng iyong income at saka list of properties?
Your Honor, nasa SALN po kasi yan. Eh. Meron po yung copy po sa DepEd. Nung nag-apply po ako, naghingi po sila ng SALN.
Hiningi po sa inyo ito at nag-submit naman po kayo?
Opo. Nung nag-apply po ako sa DepEd.
Okay. Now, to the Bureau of Treasury, yung bond fidelity is required when you hold public funds. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
At ang purpose ng fidelity bond ay to ensure against losses, shortages, and defalcation by officers or employees accountable for public funds. Tama rin po.
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, ito pong mga nakalagay dito ay to ensure na gagamitin po ng tama and for the specified purpose ang public funds. Tama po ba? Dahil kung hindi po ginamit doon for what is intended for, you are violating the law. Would you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, would you also agree with me that the fidelity bond should be equal to the amount of public funds that you would hold, being a special disbursing officer. Would that be correct?
Well, uh, I do agree, Your Honor. But that is
Hindi ko po tinatanong kung nag-agree po kayo.
Mhm.
Tama rin po ba according to your rules?
As for the Bureau of the Treasury's rules, Your Honor, admittedly, the coverage of the bond is not equal to the amount of the accountability disclosed. That is the present policy or the existing policy of the Bureau of the Treasury, Your Honor.
Now, may I know the reason why pumayag o nag-agree po kayo sa aking contention? Kasi importante po ito dahil pwedeng baguhin natin yung naandun sa Bureau of Treasury.
Well, let me preface my answer, Your Honor, by saying that this is just my personal opinion as part of the legal service, and this does not preempt a forthcoming position of the Bureau. But I do agree with the sentiment, Your Honor, because it has the features of an insurance. So therefore, in order for it to fully insure, you could say the fidelity losses should be reimbursed by said insurance. But then again, Your Honor, that is just my personal opinion, and this does not preempt any forthcoming official position of the Bureau, because really the reason why there is a minimization or limit on the bond coverage is to reduce moral hazards, Your Honor, and the fact that there are fiscal implications because presently the Fidelity Fund are with the Bureau of the Treasury. So to reimburse it fully would have fiscal implications, Your Honor.
Kasi would you agree also na kung sobra naman ang liit ng bond, then wala na pong incentive to use the trusted public fund properly. Will you also agree with that, Attorney?
I would agree with that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Si Mr. Farda ay pinayagan maghawak ng up to 50 million o ang kanyang approved amount of bond. Based on this data, the approved amount of bond is 4 million while the bond premium is 60,000. Tama rin po ba yun sa inyong mga rules and regulations?
While I do not have the records, actually, Your Honor, because that belongs to the National Capital Region Regional Office, and the invitation was belatedly sent. But if we would refer to the schedule of premium rates, accountability, and bond coverage, if I may ask again, Your Honor, the accountability is for how much, Your Honor?
50 million.
50 million.
That is the approved amount of bond.
50 million, Your Honor, for the bond, Your Honor?
Yes,
Perhaps accountability, Your Honor.
Yes, the accountability is 50 million. The approved amount of bond is 4 million.
Yes, Your Honor. That would be compliant with the schedule of premium rates under existing Treasury circulars. For minimum cash accountability, ranging from 25 million and 1 peso to 75 million pesos, the amount of bond would be 4 million with the premium to be paid, which is 60,000.
60,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tama sa rules and regulations po ninyo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, paliwanag po sa amin anong ibig sabihin ng approved amount of bond?
That is basically, Your Honor, the coverage of the Fidelity Fund. If ever there are losses, shortages, and defalcations, that is the maximum amount that can be paid by the Bureau of the Treasury. Whichever is lesser, Your Honor, it could be the amount of loss if it's lesser, or it could be the amount of the bond if it is lesser, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano rin po ba ang bond premium?
It is to be paid, Your Honor, by the agency in order for the bond to be confirmed, or for basically the contract to be binding, Your Honor, that the official is bonded.
Yes. Thank you. In the case of Mr. Farda, hindi po ba maliwanag na ang layo ng approved amount of bond and the bond premium sa amount of accountability po niya? Will you agree with that?
I would agree with that, Your Honor, because such is the present status of the policy, Your Honor.
Yes, yung sitwasyon ba na ito ay tama according to your rules?
According to the rules, Your Honor, it would be correct because that is what is stated under the policy, Your
So
Honor.
normal.
Per the rules, Your Honor, that would be normal, Your Honor.
Would you agree also with me that if this is the situation, there is no incentive for Mr. Farda to properly use the 50 million? Will you agree with that?
As far as the fidelity bonding operations is concerned, Your Honor, considering that the bond coverage is admittedly very minimal, well, yes, Your Honor, just personal opinion, looking at it with the features of an insurance contract, Your Honor.
At we have established a while ago that the salary grade of Mr. Edward Farda is only 17 and thus earns around more or less 40,000 a month. Further, he was not asked to show, or he was asked to show properties, but was not. I think he also was asked to provide a financial capacity to cover the accountable amount of 50 million. So, pinipilit ko pong intindihin how could 4 million bond serve as protection for the 50 million public funds entrusted to a person? Sa inyong departamento, hindi nyo po ba napag-aralan ito? How would a, 4 million bond serve as a protection for a 50 million public fund entrusted to an SDO?
In that regard, Your Honor, as I was not part of I do not have the knowledge on the wisdom behind the matrix of schedule of premium rates because since time immemorial, admittedly, Your Honor, it has been this way. It was just added or additional items were just added throughout the years. But I would refer it to our principals, Your Honor, if there's a need for the Bureau's position regarding the matter.
Kaya ako po tinatanong, baka I think there's a need already to amend. Di po ba? Kasi yung amount, wala pa nga 20% nung coverage. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, COA, can you please walk us through the steps of obtaining confidential funds? Would it be correct that this begins with the disbursement voucher? Madam COA?
Sir, Mr. Chair, may I ask? Can the question be repeated?
Thank you. Can you please walk us through the steps of obtaining a confidential obtaining confidential funds? Would it be true that this begins with a disbursement voucher?
Yes, Mr. Chair, from the cash advances, for the cash advance.
Correct. Tama.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, ano po ang purpose ng isang disbursement voucher?
It is to ano po, yung para mag-request nung cash advance, nung amount na gagamitin for the purpose in the DV po.
Okay. Mr. Farda, sa nakaraang mga hearing namin, paulit-ulit pong nababanggit ang inyong pangalan. Sa katunayan, nabanggit din po ang pangalan niyo ni Attorney Michael Powa, spokesperson dati ni Vice President Sara at dating Chief of Staff sa DepEd. Kilala niyo po ba siya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. At noong nakaraang hearing, napag-usapan ang confidential funds ng DepEd, pati ang mga YLS or Youth Leadership Summits. Dahil hindi po kayo nagpakita nung nakaraang mga hearing, wala po kaming choice kung hindi magtanong sa mga resource persons na nandito noon nung araw na yon. Pero ayon kay Attorney Powa, ikaw at si Vice President Sara lang ang may alam tungkol sa paggamit ng confidential funds. Do you confirm this? O si Attorney Powa ang nagsisinungaling?
Your Honor, ang nag-uusap lang po tungkol po sa confidential fund po sa office ay ako at saka si BP Sara, pero regarding po sa operation, may kausap pa po akong iba.
So,
Sa operation,
tama po yung
tama po
sinabi
yung
ko.
kay Michael
Tama
po.
po.
Kay Yusek po.
Now, bago po
Pero,
tayo-
I said, sorry Your Honor, sorry.
Sige, sige.
May kausap pa po akong iba, mga security officer po.
Ano po?
Yung pong security officer.
Ang nakakaalam na isa. So, tatlo kayo.
Ang kausap ko po si Ma'am Sara, and then ako po sa security officer.
Okay. Security officer, ikaw at si Vice President. Correct. Okay.
Your Honor, hindi po nag-uusap po si security officer at saka si Vice President Sara.
So, ikaw lang ang kausap ng security officer.
Opo.
Takilapit lang yung mic to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Bago tayo pumunta sa mga pinaggamitan ng confidential funds, dito muna tayo sa paano ba ipaprocess ang confidential funds. Specifically, yung confidential fund ng DepEd. Ang una pong step, Mr. Farda, is yung disbursement voucher. Would that be correct?
Your Honor, may isa pa pong ginagawa para po magawa po yung disbursement
Ano
voucher.
po yun?
Physical and financial plan po.
Yes. There must be a physical and financial plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Yung pong disbursement voucher para sa first quarter ng 2023 in the amount of 37.5 million, sa iyo po ba nakapangalan yung disbursement voucher?
Your Honor, ang pinapangalan po sa akin yung cheque. Yung pong cheque.
Yeah. Sa iyo po.
Yung cheque po.
Yung disbursement voucher, wala.
Ayan po ang disbursement voucher. So, nakaperma lang po ako dyan. Pero,
Nandyan yung pangalan po
ako,
ninyo.
nagsasign po ako, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yun din pong cheque, kagaya ng sabi ninyo, nakapangalan na rin po sa inyo.
Opo, Your Honor.
Okay. Pero matanong ko po, kayo po ba nag-prepare ng disbursement voucher?
Your Honor, ang nagpe-prepare po niyan sa DepEd ay yung pong accounting.
So, ang nagpre-prepare ng mga disbursement vouchers ng confidential funds of DepEd ay yung accounting division po.
Yung pong disbursement po, as to disbursement.
Yung vouchers.
Opo.
Pero this whole process would be under your supervision.
Your Honor, alam ko lang po yung mga signatory dyan, pero ang mas knowledgeable po dyan ay yung accounting po.
Wala po bang nag-uutos sa iyo na i-prepare ang mga disbursement vouchers o ihanda ang mga ito para requirement po ng paggamit ng confidential funds?
Your Honor, pag mayroon na pong physical and financial plan, minsan po pupunta ako sa accounting para mag-request na po na pwede na pong gawin yung disbursement voucher. Kasi
And who gives you that order?
Your Honor, as SDO, pag meron na pong physical financial plan, alam ko na po na kailangan na pong kasunod pong gawin ang disbursement voucher.
Automatic na ginagawa po ninyo?
Pag meron na pong physical and financial plan, automatic na po na magpapagawa na po ako ng disbursement voucher.
Okay. Thank you. Kayo rin po ang payee. Miss Catalan to sign?
Your Honor, as ano po yan eh, kapag ka po ang mga papers, si Miss Sunshine po ay nagpaperma na po kay Ma'am Sara ng disbursement voucher. Usually, trabaho po ni Miss Sunshine po yung regarding sa mga papers. May trabaho din po siyang ganyan.
Tama po ba yung aking statement?
Sorry, Your Honor, pwedeng paulit po yung statement nyo na yan.
Hindi ba tinanong ko kanina, yung pangalan po ni Miss Rona Catalan is nakalagay din po sa disbursement voucher na nakalagay diyan kanina. Nakita natin.
Opo, Your Honor.
Tama? Ito po ba yung ni-request ni Madam Sunshine for Miss Catalan to sign?
Hindi ko po alam kasi po, yung pong separate po kasi kami ng trabaho eh. Hindi ko po alam kung yan po talaga yung
Yung
okay. Question po yan.
Kasi si Madam Rona Catalan in the previous hearings claimed that Madam Sunshine requested her to sign the liquidation vouchers for the 102.5 million in DepEd confidential funds, which were reportedly withdrawn as cash advances by you, who serve as the special disbursing officer at DepEd. Yun po yung sinabi ni Madam Catalan, kaya tinatanong ko po kayo.
Your Honor, ang ano po namin is, ang per quarter po, lagi pong 37.5
Yeah.
million. Opo.
Tatlong beses?
Opo, tatlong beses po.
Yes. So, totoo yung claim ni Madam Rona Catalan.
Siguro po, kaya hindi ko po sure, kaya wala po kasi
Okay.
ako doon.
Thank you. I'll take that for an answer. Yung pag-issue ng cheque sa'yo, yung date same date ng disbursement voucher, would you remember that?
Pag-issue po ng cheque,
Kaya nandyan.
Your Honor, ano pong ibig sabihin po issue po ng cheque? Same
Nagkasabay
date.
po nung disbursement voucher. Doon
Ay, ang sa pagkakaalam ko, ginagawa po muna yung disbursement voucher
Agree.
para po makagawa ng cheque.
Pero yung pagkatapos ng disbursement voucher, sumunod ka agad yung pagkagawa ng cheque. Would you agree?
Hindi ko na po alam ko kasi accounting po ang nagpa-process nun eh.
Accounting.
Opo.
Kasi may pagkaalam po ako doon sa controllership iho eh. So I know. And nakikita ko na napakabilis nung pagkatapos ng disbursement voucher, may cheque ka agad. Napakabilis po ng proseso.
Accounting
Hindi.
po kasi nagpa-process, Your
Diba?
Honor.
Yes. At ayon dito sa disbursement voucher, na-receive mo ang cheque for 37.5 million. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I would just like to manifest, Mr. Chair, nakita natin sa screen ang kopya ng 37.5 million check na issued na-issue kay Mr. Farda. Ang pag-advance ng 37.5 million na ito ay may approval ng Office of the Vice President. In fact, nakalagay nga sa disbursement voucher itong cash advance ay necessary, incurred lawfully and under her direct supervision. Mr. Farda, nung nakuha mo na yung cheque, ano po ang ginawa niyo po sa cheque?
Your Honor, yan po ay withdrawin ko. Pero sa naalala ko po, hindi po agad na nawi-withdraw eh. Ano po ata ng kinabukasan pa. Kasi sa pagkaalam ko po, ang bangko wala pong ganyan atang.
Winidraw niyo po ba ito one time?
Yes, Your Honor. Yung pong 37.
Okay. Yung pagka-withdraw nyo yung pondo, saan nyo po dinala?
Sa office po, Your Honor.
Sa office. So, meron po kayong vault doon that would be able to hold 37.5 million.
Meron po, Your Honor.
Meron. Okay. Kapag meron na ngayon tao na sa inyong opisina na nangangailangan o may gagamitin para na confidential funds mula sa iyo, inaalam mo ba kung saan gagamitin?
Your Honor, meron po akong process ng pag-disburse niyan, Your Honor.
Could you explain to us anong process ng pag-disburse mo?
Sa isang ano ko lang po yan sa security officer lang po ako nagdi-disburse niyan. Wala na pong iba.
So, kung may nangangailangan ng confidential funds sa office ng DepEd, sa security officer lang mo binibigay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who might be that security officer who disburses together with you yung confidential funds ng DepEd?
Yes, Your Honor, meron po.
Sino po yung security officer?
Si Colonel Dennis Nolasco po.
Colonel. Sa kwan po ito? Sa DepEd?
Designated po siya as security officer sa DepEd.
Sa DepEd.
Opo.
Designated as security officer. So,
yes, Your Honor.
when designated, ang ibig sabihin po yun, meron silang appropriate legal orders.
You mean designate po siya?
Ano po?
Designate po siya.
Na-designate
Opo.
po siya. Sino po ang nag-designate sa kanya para maging security officer?
I was informed na BP Sara that si Dennis Nolasco po ay I was informed na meron pong security officer na for DepEd. So sa pagkaalam ko po ang nag-assign po niyan ay si Colonel La Chica.
Oh. Okay. Thank you. Pag ibinigay mo sa security officer, ano po ang hinihingi mo sa kanya na proof para saan gagamitin ito? Wala ka nang hinihingi?
Your Honor, may pinapakita po siyang quarterly activity plan po niya.
And do you have a copy of all these quarterly activity plans in the utilization of 37.5 million?
Your Honor, confidential po yan, so binabalik po sa kanya. So,
Ano po?
binabalik po sa kanya.
So you do not have any copy of that.
Wala po, Your Honor.
It is only Colonel Dennis Nolasco who would have copies of this.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ngayon, matanong ko, sino-sino naman po ang humihingi na sa iyo ng confidential funds?
Diyan lang po ako nag-disburse sa kanya, Your Honor.
Siya lang?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, wala kang kaalam-alam kung saan o kanino ibinibigay ni Colonel Nolasco yung confidential funds.
Your Honor, si Colonel Nolasco po kasi ang expert sa confidential operation. So-
Hindi po ninyo sinasagot yung aking katanungan. Ang katanungan ko po ay si Colonel Dennis Nolasco ang nakakaalam kung sino at saan ginagamit yung confidential fund na ibinibigay mo sa kanya. Would that be correct?
Your Honor, based po dun sa quarterly activities na binibigay po niya,
Yes,
doon lang po nalalaman.
Ang sinasabi po ninyo sa amin is nagsasamit sa iyo si Colonel Dennis Nolasco ng quarterly activity plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then, based on that, dun sa quarterly activity plan, nagbibigay po kayo ng CF. Ganun po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, nandun din siguro sa quarterly activity plan yung buong amount?
Your Honor, hindi po kasi buong amount po siya eh. Meron po siyang certain amount na hindi po
Na nakalagay
lahat
dun
binibigay.
sa quarterly activity plan?
Opo.
Okay, thank you. Pag ibinibigay mo ng pondo, is it in cash?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Kasi ganito ang aking pagtatanong, Mr. Edward Farda, kasi gusto kong malaman o maintindihan saan po napupunta at paano ginagamit yung confidential funds. Pag nakuha mo na ito, kasi sa iyo nakapangalan yun eh. Di po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Sa second at third quarter, Mr. Farda, meron ding mga disbursement vouchers at checks. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Ngayon, isa-isahin natin bago tayo pumunta doon sa susunod na proseso ng confidential funds. Comsec, please show yung disbursement voucher for the second quarter.
Colonel Acop, General Acop. Can I just ask one question?
With the indulgence of Congressman Acop, the
Yes.
chair would like to recognize
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez.
So Edward, Mr. Fajarda, kayo po yung nagwi-withdraw ng pera sa Land Bank. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
Paano nyo po wini-withdraw yung pera mula sa bangko?
You mean, normal process po ng pag-withdraw, Your Honor.
So cheque ang ibinibigay nyo, tapos ini-encash nyo po ito?
Yes, Your Honor.
So 37 million, medyo malaking halaga po yun. Saang land bank nyo po kinukuha yung cash?
Doon lang po sa Land Bank DepEd. Within the premises naman po yun ng DepEd.
Within the DepEd premises.
Apo.
So dun sa 37 million na wini-withdraw nyo, saan nyo po inilalagay ito?
Sa bag po. Backpack, tsaka dalawang bubble bag. Dalawa po.
I can't imagine kasi itong 37 million eh. Meron po kasi last hearing na pinakitang duffel bag. Ganito po kaya yung itsura niya? Mr. Fajarda?
More or less the same, pero may malaki pa po akong bag.
So ikaw lang mag-isa?
Op.
Ha?
Your Honor, tatlo po yung bag. Dalawang...
So ikaw lang mag-isa ang nagbubuhat ng 37 million.
Yes, Your Honor. Kayang-kaya ko naman po.
Kaso lang wala kang ibang kasama, wala kang security personnel habang dala-dala niyo po yung pera?
Meron pong isa. Meron pa akong security.
Pwede niyo po kaya maibigay yung pangalan ng security na yon?
Tanungin ko lang po siya, Your Honor, ha, kung ibigay ko. Kasi ganito po kasi ang nangyayari. Kapag withdraw na po ako ng check, tatawagan ko po si security officer ko dun sa pagdi-disperse ko. Magbibigay po siya sa akin ng security. Tapos, sasabihin niya, dun po sa BPSPG sa baba, sa mga sundalo sa baba, may lalapit sa iyo pagbaba mo dyan. sasabihin sa'yo, akong magbabantay sa'yo, lalakadin lang namin po. Doon lang naman sa within the...
So ang sinasabi niyo po, dun sa ilang beses po kayo nakapag-withdraw ng 37 million?
Tatlo, Your Honor.
3 beses. Sa 3 beses, iba't ibang tao po yung nakasama ninyo?
Siya lang po, Your Honor.
So pwede niyo po maibigay yung pangalan since iisa lang pala?
Sir Alan lang po ang tawag ko sa kanya.
Ba't kilala niyo po itong Sir Alan na to?
Sa mukha po, Your Honor, kasi BPSPG po siya. Kasama lang po lagi siya sa mga BPSPG. Nandun lang po lagi siya sa BPSPG pag bumababa po ako.
Bahagi po siya ng Vice President Security Group.
Siguro po, kasi yun po ang mga kasama niya pag bumababa po ako. I think sundalo din po siya. Sundalo po siya.
Oo. Hindi po kayo nababahala na hindi niyo po masyadong kilala yung tao kaso lang malaking halaga ang dala-dala po ninyo?
Your Honor, si security officer po ang nagbigay sa akin. So,
Security officer pertaining to who?
to confidential fund po.
Hindi, sino yung security officer na nagbigay sa inyo dito sa Alan na binabanggit ninyo?
Si Colonel Nolasco po.
Colonel Nolasco.
Opo.
So itong security officer na to na si Alan, siya po yung kasama ninyo pupunta sa land bank, mag-encash ng cheque at daladalagan niyo po yung mga bag na punong-puno ng pera.
Yes, Your Honor.
At dinadala niyo po ito sa vault. Nabanggit niyo po yung
Opo.
vault.
Yes, Your Honor.
Pwede niyo po kaya mailarawan sa amin kung gaano kalaki yung vault na pinaglalagyan po ng pera? Ito po ba'y kasing laki ninyo?
Mas mataas po ako ng konti. Almost yung laki ko po.
At kayo lang po ang may access sa vault na ito?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, Chairman. Thank you very much, Congressman Acop, for that interview.
Mr. Chairman, can I...
Yes, Congressman. Yes, Senior Deputy Speaker Don Gonzales, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Edward Fajarda, yung pong bahay nyo doon lang sa tabi ng Land Bank and DepEd.
Your Honor, malapit po doon. Pero hindi po sa tabi. Medyo malapit po doon.
Gumagamit po kayo ng sasakyan pag umuwi po kayo ng limbawa, kaling kayo sa Land Bank, DepEd, punta kayo sa bahay nyo, kinakarga nyo lang po yung pera, hindi kayo gumagamit ng sasakyan.
You mean pertaining po pag nag-withdraw po ako,
Opo.
Your Honor? Your Honor, lakad ko lang po kasi within the premises lang po siya ng DepEd yung land bank.
Tapos dadalhin nyo po sa bahay nyo.
Ay, hindi po. Sa office po.
Okay. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Congressman Acop, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For 2023, Mr. Edward Farda, you prepared 3 disbursement vouchers, 37.5 million. Tama? Tatlong 37.5 million.
Yes, Honor. Tama
Yung
po.
bang nangyari doon sa unang 37.5 million, yung second quarter disbursement voucher at saka yung third quarter disbursement voucher, parehas po ang nangyari, ang ginawa po ninyo?
You mean parehas?
Yung
Honor.
in-encash nyo yung cheque,
Opo. Yes, Your Honor. Opo.
i-draw ninyo, tapos ibiligay nyo kay Colonel Dennis Nolasco.
Yes, Your Honor. Pero hindi po buo lahat yun.
Yung ibig sabihin, meron pa bang ibang tao maliban kay Colonel Dennis Nolasco na kumuha sa inyo ng confidential fund?
Wala na po, Your Honor.
So,
Sa kanya
nag-iisa lang siya talaga.
po. Yes, Your
For
Honor.
the 3 checks
Yes, Your Honor.
worth 37.5 million
Tatlo po.
each.
Opo.
Tama?
Tama po.
Okay. Doon po tayo nagkakaintindi. Now, Mr. Farda, tuwing tatanggap ka ng cheque nung first, second, and third quarter, sabi mo kanina, wini-withdraw mo sa bangko, dinadala sa inyong opisina, nilalagay sa vault. Sabi mo kanina, meron po kayong vault sa inyong mga sa opisina. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hindi mo dinideposito sa bangko, nandun lang sa vault.
Nasa vault lang po, Your Honor.
Okay. And inaantay po ninyo na mag-provide sa inyo si Colonel Nolasco ng quarterly activity report or plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. May manifest, Mr. Chair, na nag-umpisa yung pagkuha ng confidential funds after gumawa po ng disbursement voucher. On the same day, Mr. Farda na na-issuean ng 37.5 million check or a total of 112.5 million. Tama, Farda? Kasi 3 beses eh.
3 beses po.
Yes.
Per quarter po, Your
3 times 37.5 would equal 112.5.
Tama po.
To emphasize, itong napakalaking halaga ng cash advance ayon sa vouchers ay necessary, lawful, and incurred in the office of the Vice President ayon sa certification ng ating pangalawang Pangulo sa mga disbursement vouchers. Mr. Farda, nung nakaraang hearing, ayon kay Attorney Camora, kilala po niyo siya? Taga-COA? Hindi?
Your Honor.
Attorney Camora just accepted your accomplishment reports as correct despite the blatant red flags. On February 2023, you encashed 37.5 million check and made, tama po ba yun? Sinabi ko? 20 February 2023, in-encash mo yung 37.5 million check, yung first quarter.
I'm not sure lang po dun sa exact date ko, mga 2021,
Okay, pero-
something, mga ganyan, 2021,
2023,
mga ganyan po.
Kasi ang first quarter, January, February, March. Tama?
February po siya.
February. Thank you. But in the report, you made 7 disbursement in 7 different locations. Would that be true?
Your Honor, ang gumagawa po sa confidential operation ay si security officer po.
I beg your pardon?
Sa security, yung pong nagdi-disburse
Si
po
Colonel
ng,
Nolasco rin ang gumagawa nitong
yan siya po ang ano niyan.
sa...
Kanya pong expertise po yan. Yan pong
So,
7.
ibig mong sabihin, yung first quarter na 37.5 million check, ang gumawa ng 7 disbursements in 7 different locations ay si Colonel Dennis Nolasco. Hindi po kayo.
Hindi po ako si Eso po.
Yung pong total amount of 37.5.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, for the first quarter, kinuha lahat ni Colonel Nolasco at dinisburse niya in 7 different locations.
Your Honor, may hindi po yan buong 37 na ibibigay sa kanya. Mostly weekly po yan eh. Mga weekly po, mostly weekly.
And what would be the average amount na ibibigay mo per week?
Your Honor, kailangan po ba mag-details pwede ko bang hindi i-details yung amount? Or
Ano po?
pwede ko po bang hindi i-details yung amount?
Hindi mo sabihin?
Kung pwede lang po.
Ay, bakit hindi mo po?
Hindi po ba masyadong confidential na? Sige po. Your Honor, nagre-range po siya sa 4 to 6 million po.
Okay. No. Kasi doon sa pag-liquidate po ninyo, for example, yung first quarter, yung 7 disbursement were made yung February sa Malolos, Davao, San Francisco, Agusan del Sur, Makati City, Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, and Davao City. May I ask, posible po ba ito?
Your Honor, hindi po kasi ako ang expert dyan. Si Colonel Nolasco po. Siya po kasi ang gumawa niyan.
Okay, thank you. In last 15 March 2023, the report says that 26 disbursements were made. Are you aware of this?
Your Honor, kay trabaho po kaya ng si security officer. So,
Okay.
siya po.
Kasi kung Mr. Farda, titingnan ko po yung mga lugar kung saan po nag-disburse. Ang lalayo po eh. Kaya ang tanong ko, kaya posible ba ito sa paningin po ninyo?
Your Honor, hindi ko po kasi masabi kasi siya po ang nagtrabaho niyan. So, hindi po ako expert yan.
So, parang sinasabi mo, siya dapat ang sumagot sa katanungan ko.
Diyan po sa question na po yan. Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, thank you. Now, COA, sa inyong mga rules and regulations at saka protocol, required ang liquidation at saka accomplishment reports. Tama?
Tama po, Mr. Chair.
Now, please explain to us, ano po ang purpose ng liquidation at saka accomplishment reports?
Yung accomplishment report po ay part ng liquidation. Yung liquidation po kasi is parang explanation kung paano na disburse po yung confidential funds na kinash advance ni SDO.
Okay. Now, would a broad enumeration of the expenses be sufficient or in compliance with the liquidation and accomplishment reports?
As long as andun po siya sa mga expenses na allowed sa joint circular.
Now, in your protocols, how are we certain that the funds were properly spent? Could you please explain to us?
Based po dun sa requirements ng joint circular, they're required to submit these documents na to support yung liquidation po nila.
Now, let's go to dun sa payment of reward. Di po ba? Meron yan, di po ba? At isa yan sa pwedeng paggastusan ng confidential fund.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Correct? Hindi po ba ang requirement dyan, if I remember it right, kailangan merong report on success bago ibibigay yung reward? Would that be correct?
Mr. Chair, documents evidencing the success of the information gathering po.
Tama? Yung sinabi ko.
Yes po.
Now, nandito rin naman po kayo ng mga nakarang hearing. At sinabi ng mga representatives ng Philippine Army. Nandito po kayo noon eh.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And according to their answers to the questions of the members of this committee, they denied na nakatanggap po sila ng pera mula sa DepEd para sa YLS. Tama?
Tama po, Mr. Chair.
Pero ito, sinabi nila, nagagamit ito sa pag-liquidate ng confidential funds ng DepEd.
Parang ang explanation po dati is yun na po yung proof na naging successful po yung operations.
Yeah. Mr. Farda, would it be correct na bilang ikaw ay SDO, ikaw rin ang in charge sa paggawa ng liquidation and accomplishment reports? Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. At yung tatlong 37.5 million na iyong natanggap ay ginawan mo ng mga ganito, yung liquidation and accomplishment reports.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Dito muna tayo sa first quarter. Comsec, paki-flash yung liquidation report for the first quarter of 2023. Naalaala mo pa ba ito? And you're aware of this. Now,
Yes, Your Honor.
ayon dito sa liquidation report na ito, you certified na yung cash advance na 37.5 million ay ginamit para sa payment for operation MOE expenses ng DepEd. Tama? Yun po ang nakalagay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Payment for operational and MOE expenses ng DepEd. Ang nakalagay nga it says operational MOE expenses of the Vice President / Secretary of the Department of Education. Tama?
Pero, Your Honor, nagbe-base po yan kasi dun sa dapat pagkagastuhan po ng confidential fund, yung rental, sa business.
Pero yun po ang nandun sa kwan na sinamit po ninyo sa COA.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa linya po ng amount to be refunded, blanco po ang box. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ang ibig sabihin niyan, wala po kayong isinole sa ahensya na naiwan sa 37.5 million. Would that be correct also?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. At si Vice President mismo ang nag-certify na nagamit at naubos ang buong cash advance na 37.5 million for the purposes it was meant to be used. Tama rin po.
Yes, sir.
Para ma-certify po ninyo na tama ang data na nakalagay po sa liquidation report, ibig sabihin ito ay alam mo kung saan ginamit yung cash advance. Would that also be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ibig sabihin, alam mo kung saan at kanino napunta ang pera. Tama rin po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, since we have the liquidation report dyan, gusto ko pong tanungin sa inyo, ano ang payment of operational MOE expenses of the Office of the Vice President / Secretary of the Department? Ano po yun? Ano ang ibig sabihin? Ano ang included sa payment of operational / MOE expenses of the Office of the Vice President / Secretary of the Department? Sigurado ako, alam mo dapat ito Dahil sinabi mo rin dito kanina sa aking pagtatanong, tama po yung mga nakalagay doon sa liquidation report. Tama?
Your Honor, ito pong to liquidate the cash advance granted for payment operational / MOE expense of the Vice President Secretary covered by check. Ito po kasi yung nakalagay din dun sa disbursement voucher.
Yeah, pero ang ibig sabihin nun po doon sa liquidation report na yan, alam po ninyo, Mr. Farda, being the Special Disbursement Officer, na alam po ninyo what are included dun sa payment of operational and / MOE expenses of the Office of the Vice President / Secretary of the Department. Kasi yun po ang nilagay nyo po dun sa liquidation report
Actually, Your Honor, ito po lang yung nakalagay dun sa disbursement voucher, pero as to sinasubmit po dun sa COA, nagbe-base po ako dun sa documentary evidence of payment. Yun po talaga pinagkagastusan ng pera.
If that is the case, Mr. Farda, hindi po tama yung pag-certify nyo when you certified to the correctness of the data. Will you agree with that?
Your Honor,
Dahil ikaw na mismo nagsasabi na hindi mo alam
Your Honor, ito po kasi yung nakalagay sa disbursement voucher. Ang ibig sabihin po kasi dun sa nitong pong liquidation nito, ililiquidate ko po itong 37.5.
So, sinunod mo lang kung alin ang nakalagay doon sa DV o disbursement voucher?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ngayon, paano mo malalaman o masasabi na tama ang data na nandun po sa disbursement voucher?
Your Honor, nakalagay naman po dun sa ano yung 37.5, then sa cheque rin, so tali po sila eh.
Now, may I know if alam po ninyo kung ano ibig sabihin ng operational at saka MOE expenses, Mr. Farda? Would you know?
Your Honor, yung po kasing operational dyan,
Hindi, alam niyo po ba ang ibig sabihin ng operational at saka MOE? Yes or no?
yung pong sa MOE, Your Honor, allotted po yung 37.5. Yung po ang inilagay po dyan. MOE po sa...
Hindi, pero ang tinatanong ko po kung alam niyo po ang ibig sabihin ng operational at saka MOE. These two are expenses, and would you know, dapat alam po ninyo na ano ang operational at saka MOE expenses.
Your Honor, yung pong payment for operational, ang ibig kong sabihin dyan is yung paggastos po ng confidential fund sa confidential operation.
Kasi, Mr. Naiisip nyo ba yung sagot po ninyo sa akin na nagagamit sa operational and MOE expenses yung confidential funds, Mr. Farda? May implication po yun eh. When you say, inaamin mo na yung confidential funds were used for operational and MOE expenses, which were in your liquidation reports, the confidential funds of the DepEd were not evidently used for confidential expenses, kung yun po ang nakalagay. That is the implication of your answer, Mr. Fajarda.
Your Honor, hindi ko lang po siguro nalagyan ng operational confidential operations. Doon po kasi ginagastos.
So, hindi mo nalalagyan ng adjective na confidential operations.
Opo. Yes, Your Honor.
And the document states or shows that you and the Vice President certified to the correctness of the liquidation report. Kayong dalawang pumipirma, di po ba?
Nagperma po kami, yes.
Yeah. Dapat alam mo ito. Kasi, pag ganito ang sinasagot po ninyo, baka malumog po kayo. Naiisip mo ba yun, Mr. Farda? Ha? Thank you. Now, ito naman certification ng 31 March 2023, ikaw rin ba nag-prepare nito?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ikaw nag-prepare. And what you prepared was attested by the Vice President. Would that be correct also?
Yes, Your Honor.
And would you agree that the attestation was made under oath pursuant to the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Alam nyo rin po ba ang implication nito, Mr. Farda?
Oath po.
Ha? Yes. Alam mo na ito'y pinanumpaan mo. And si Attorney Rochelle Abella was the Commission Notary Public for the City of Manila. Tama. Siya
Siya po nag-notarize.
Okay. Normal ba na sa mga certification na ginagawa mo for the confidential funds, si Attorney Abella ang Notary Public?
Sa kanya po ako nagpapanotarize.
Okay, thank you. ano po yung implication ng certification na ito, at Mr. Fajardo? What are you trying to certify? Pwede ko po bang malaman para malaman ko kung alam po ninyo yung pinipirmahan po ninyo?
Your Honor, pwede po bang makakuha ko ng copy kasi wala lang po akong copy niyan.
Comsec, kindly provide Mr. Farda yung certification na naka-flash sa screen.
Yes, Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So, alam mo na kung bakit, ano ang nilalaman ng certification, nabasa mo na.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oo. Na basically, Mr. Farda, you are certifying na yung 37.5 million confidential fund ay ginamit sa tamang confidential operations na activities ng DepEd at ang mga pinagkakagastusan ng amount na yun ay necessary at ginamit for legal purposes. Yun po ang laman ng certification. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ayan. Now, may I present yung accomplishment report for the first quarter corresponding to the 37.5 million. Ito ay kasama po sa liquidation report na sinabmit po ninyo. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yung accomplishment report.
Yes, Your Honor.
Magkakibat yun eh.
Opo.
Tama? Ikaw rin ba nag-prepare nito?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ibig sabihin, if we look at it, may mga breakdown. Ikaw rin ang gumawa ng mga breakdown?
Yes, Your
Kung
Honor.
titingnan mo, may mga breakdown. Di po ba?
With the help po ito ng security officer.
Yes. At alam mo, dahil dito, alam mo kung saan ginamit yung pondo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? Yung bang mga specific transactions, alam mo rin lahat yon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Kasi, totoo naman, hindi ka makakagawa ng report na ganito kadetalye kung hindi mo alam lahat ng mga detalye ng transactions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tama. At ginawa mo rin to para malaman mo kung saan napunta ang pera.
Yes, Your Honor. Maliban
Lang kung gagawa-gawa lang ito, Mr. Farda.
Ako po ang nanggawa nito. Yes, Your
Yes,
Honor.
thank you. Itong accomplishment report, in-approve din ni Madam Vice President.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. For the second and third quarter, ganito rin po ba ang nangyari?
Medyo the same po yan, Your Honor.
The same. Yung for 37.5 for the second quarter, di po ba? And
Yes, Your
for the
Honor.
third quarter, 37.5. Kung titingnan po natin yung tatlong quarters na yon, sa iyong liquidation report, wala pong sinoli na pera.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And sinabi mo rin uli sa iyong sa liquidation report mo na yung second quarter na 37.5 at saka third quarter na 37.5, sinertify mo uli na ito'y ginamit sa operational /MOE expenses of the Vice President, Secretary of Education. Tama.
Yes, Your Honor.
And a while ago, you corrected yourself.
Yes,
Sa
Your
lahat
Honor.
ng dokumentong ito, hindi po naka-indicate na confidential funds.
Hindi ko po nalagay yung confidential, Your Honor.
Yun yung sinabi mo na mali mo kanina.
Yes, Your Honor.
In the documents, wala pong mention ng confidential funds. You agreed with me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Lahat din ng liquidation report at saka certification na certify po ni Vice President Sara, would that also be correct?
Na-certify po, Your Honor.
Yes. Na yung certification ninyo, yung amount na confidential fund ay ginamit para sa confidential operations and activities of the DepEd.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And the two documents, yung certification na yun for the second and third quarter ng confidential fund, ang nagnotaryo ay si Attorney Rosel Enabella.
Tama po, Your Honor.
Suki mo yata siguro ito, Edward?
Siya po nag-notarize, Your Honor.
And lahat po ng certification, pina-attest mo kay Vice President. Tama.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, ang makakasagot po ng detalye ng paggamit po nung tatlong 37.5 pursuant to the testimony of Mr. Edward Farda ay si Colonel Dennis Nolasco. Kasi according to our witness, Mr. Edward Farda, yung confidential funds, the moment na nagsasubmit si Colonel Dennis Nolasco ng quarterly accomplishment report, doon nag-i-issue si Mr. Edward Farda ng amount of confidential funds which is nandun dun sa report na sinasubmit. So, Mr. Chair, may I respectfully move that in the next hearing, we invite the security officer, Colonel Dennis Nolasco. So, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion, duly seconded. Kindly, ComSec, kindly take note. Thank you. Go ahead, Congressman Akop.
That would be all for the meantime to give a respite to Mr. Edward Farda. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.